Happy Halloween and welcome back to a special spooky edition of PTV. I'm Samantha Pruitt.
And I'm Miscellaneous. Sam, tonight when all the little trick-or-treaters are out, are you going to scare them and take all their candy?
Nyla, that sounds like bullying, and I don't want any part of that. In fact, October is Bully Awareness Week, and our elementary school is incorporating activities to help teach kids and prevent bullying. You should know this is your story.
Yeah, take a look.
Phillipsburg Elementary students continue the tradition of wearing orange to unite against bullying.
So initially, my kids were reading a Time for Kids magazine. This has been several years ago. And there was an article in there about Unity Day and how kids across the United States will wear orange in support of anti-bullying measures. So my kids got pretty excited and wanted to know if that was something that we could do. So I took it to Mrs. Lauren, and then we decided to kind of go the whole school. The first few years it was just, everybody wear orange on a certain day in October, and then last year we decided it would be really fun if we could have school shirts. So we put together an order, and the kids and the staff and some parents ordered our orange shirts that we're wearing today.
How do you think he felt?
Sad.
What do you think? Sad?
Preventing bullying is more difficult than just wearing orange, so teachers incorporate lessons including a new second step curriculum to increase social awareness.
The elementary adopted a program called the Second Step. It's a curriculum that goes over skills for them to be problem solvers. I have different posters here. We talk about empathy, how they're supposed to calm down, skills for learning, and another one for problem solving steps. It's just to prepare them in the future of how to deal with their emotions in a positive way.
Along with using the Second Step program, teachers also create dialogue and lessons through characters and stories.
This month we are focusing on being a lunchroom bully, being a recess bully, tattling versus reporting, and just loving who you are. And so one of the stories we're reading is The Recess Queen, to focus on recess bullying.
The lessons seem to be working.
Okay.
So bullying can stop other people if you help other people stop getting bullied. That bullying is not good, but to help stop bullying is good.
Why do you think it's important that we recognize or celebrate No Bully Day?
Because it's good to not bully.
For PTV, this is Nyla Salinas.
It's good not to bully.
Eliminating bullying and making sure everyone has a good experience at school is really important.
And that's why Phillipsburg has compiled a diverse group of students to be a part of a core team to help improve issues in our district. Noah Van Kooten tells us more about that.
Maybe some of you have something on there.
High school and middle school students come together as part of core team to help improve their schools. Jason Johnson of Southwest Plains Educational Service Center guides the students throughout the process.
We're working with a group of students selected by the administration to kind of focus on how we can improve the culture within the building, improve the opportunities for students to make an impact in their school to better serve all the social emotional needs of the students.
Students meet periodically throughout the year and are taught to be leaders in how to help improve their school environment.
I became a leader, it builds me to understand how to pick people up if they're down. And he asked us questions about personal stuff, and it's called Walk the Line. So we would walk the line if it's true, and it's an honest game, so you got to be honest about it.
As the year progresses, the hope is for an improved school environment.
At the end of the year, our hope is that we have a better awareness of some of the issues that are going on in the buildings that we can help fix or help make a difference in, and that they've had an impact in making a change or a shift in the culture at the end of the year.
For PTV, this is Noah Van Kooten.
Greetings, PHS. I'm going to show you how to make my favorite Halloween tree. First, we got our strawberries out, rinsed and dried them. Then we got our white chocolate and a layer of parchment paper. We're going to get a piece of almond bark, and then we're going to break it into thirds. And then we're going to put it one by one in a bowl. We're going to melt this in the microwave for 30 seconds. Now we're going to dip and twist our strawberries. Now we put on the ghost faces. Now we're all done and ready to serve.
As high schoolers, we've mostly outgrown trick-or-treating, but I think some students might still be involved in some trick or cheating in class.
No, surely not. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Do you think using Spark Notes or Slater is cheating, or is that just getting additional help?
Well, I consider it getting extra help, but I'm not sure if my teachers agree. Let's find out in the next story.
As some problems get complicated, some students look to the internet for additional help.
I think sites like Slater can be useful if you're using them the right way. If you're using them to gain understanding, you're trying to work out a problem, want to see how it's worked out, I think you can use it and learn from it. If you're using it just to get the answers so you can get a good grade on a homework, probably not going to work out so well for you in the end. Sites like Slater have caused a problem in my class because students are just looking to get the answer, not understand it. They get the grade on the homework they want, but when it comes test time and they need to understand it and apply it, they can't transfer it because they got it off of Slater. Other than Slater, I'm a big fan of GeoGebra. It's a graphing tool that we use in class a lot. Also a big fan of graphing calculators. Those things can do more than you realize and are worth the money.
Students in English class also look to the internet for additional help.
I've absolutely heard of Spark Notes. I use them myself. When we are doing complicated readings, I suggest that they actually go to Spark Notes first, read the summary so they get a general idea of what's going on, maybe even take the quiz if one is offered, but then still read the actual material because it's the material that they're going to be assessed on later on, not some summary that they found online. Notes can be positive, it's just when people tend to rely on them as their sole means of learning the material that it can cause a problem. Number one, they're not reading the entire bit of information, and number two, they are getting someone else's perspective on what's going on. So if SparkNote says this is the theme, this is the main idea, if kids just take that for gospel, they might not actually think of different things that could be themes or ideas that they could apply to what's going on in the classroom.
Junior Sierra Portner has utilized both Slater and SparkNotes throughout high school.
I think they can both be very useful things for students, and I definitely use them throughout my high school career. Using SparkNotes is good when you forget to read, for one, or it's even good to just review a story that you may not have understood. Very easy. It's good to paraphrase everything, but you could also just use it if you forget to read.
For PTV, this is Dominic Rudd.
Ashley Babcock, please report to Candy's office to submit your hair sample for the drug test.
my hair. Sam, when you were little, did your mom ever sew your Halloween costumes for you?
Yeah, she did. I can't remember a costume she didn't sew.
That's rare these days. It seems that sewing isn't as popular as it once was, but it's still an important skill. Mrs. Weiser's classes are getting ready to start a sewing unit. So she and her students headed to Hayes to do some fabric shopping. Alicia Hernandez reports.
Hey, we need to be in a line.
To prepare for the sewing unit and to learn more about fabric, Mrs. Weiser takes her FAC students to Hayes.
Well, we went to Hayes to purchase fabric for the projects that we will make in our classes. In past years, before I taught the FACS classes, when I used to volunteer and come and help Mrs. Audie, she shared with me that sometimes students didn't always have their fabric when it was time to get started on projects here at school. And I really felt like that was because there isn't much of an option of places to buy fabric here in Phillipsburg.
The trip wasn't just about shopping, but learning too.
I learned that you have to they cut the fabric for you, and then you buy however much you want, and that costs that much. So it's like per yard. And I learned that you had to get not only like your fabric, but your pins and your thread. And you just had to learn what like styles went good together.
The trip was a success.
I liked the trip pretty well. It was pretty fun, but the bus was super crowded. I liked eating out and picking my own fabrics for my own projects.
It was very smooth. We talked a lot ahead of time about appropriate behavior in a public place. We were also used to the idea that we would have to wait in line. There were 50 students that went on the trip, so that's quite a bit of people to be shopping at once. Hobby Lobby did know ahead of time that we were coming. We talked to them about a week ahead of time, so they were aware. And so I think overall it was very smooth.
For PTV, this is Alicia Hernandez.
Ready for number 2? First, you'll add lemon lime Kool-Aid, and then a cup of sugar. Alright, and then we will have 2 quarts water, cold. Next, we'll be putting in 4 cups of 7-Up. And next, we'll put in 2 cups of pineapple juice. Lastly, we'll put in 7 big scoops of lime sherbet.
My favorite.
That looks like a tasty treat.
Speaking of treats, don't you just love it when teachers pass candy out in class?
Yeah, but sometimes they make us work for it.
I do have to admit, at times, I'll work a little harder if candy is involved.
Okay, me too. I'm glad that some teachers use candy in other ways of motivating students other than just grades. Haley Brunner shows us more ways teachers try to motivate their students.
Candy isn't just for trick-or-treaters, but it can also be used to help motivate or reward students. Teachers like Mrs. Pockbeer often add extra incentives to help motivate students.
So with vocabulary quizzes, I have a class competition because students seem to be motivated when they have to compete against the other class. So we keep a tally mark of how many times the class gets a certain question right, that everybody in the class gets it right. And so we compete against the other classes, and whatever class gets the most correct answers, then I give that class candy. So it's kind of funny how sometimes students will work harder for candy sometimes than they do for your grade. Another thing to motivate students with vocabulary is to create streaks. I keep track of how many times students get 100% in a row, in weeks in a row. Kind of ties in with, the Snapchat streak. So that's one thing that seems to motivate them along with just their ordinary grades.
I actually like it. It kind of gives me something to work for, because if you didn't have anything, it's like, oh, well, that's dumb. But now you don't want to lose your streak after you have it. Otherwise, that's really sad. If
a student gets 100% on a quiz, I keep track of that. They get their name up on the spellboard pass, which means that for the next week, they don't have to create their study guide for vocab. I figure if they get 100% on their quiz, they figured out a good study tool, and they don't need to do the additional study tool I give them.
You don't want to let your class down and then not get candy. And you also just don't want to have to do spellboard because it's not very fun. So it kind of pushes you to like get 100 on the test.
Some teachers use other incentives like free homework passes.
So if kids get a 90 or above on quizzes or chapter tests, I give them this coupon. It says free homework pass, but it actually can be used for a point towards a test grade, and they can use them to get them up their score up to a 90. When I was in high school, my Spanish teacher actually used the same sort of incentive, and so I got the idea from her because we always enjoyed seeing how many coupons we could get, and it was just a fun motivator to make us try to do our best on quizzes and tests.
I think it's good if you don't do good on a test, you have them to fall back on.
For PTV, this is Haley Bruner.
Ugh, that's disgusting.
Hey kid, don't let the science scare you. I can get some contacts if you want some. Pretty cheap.
Take David.
You don't know my name.
Wow, Trent, your eyes look really different. Whoa, Trent, what's wrong with your eyes?
Ew, Trent, what's wrong with your eyes? You need to get that looked at.
Oh, that was scary. But you know what my nightmare is?
No, what?
Parent-teacher conferences.
Here's more on fall conferences.
Parent-teacher conferences. Some students hate them, but some students love them. But teachers enjoy getting the chance to connect with their parents and learn about what's going on in the classroom.
I think it's a good idea for parents to come to parent-teachers conferences, and if kids want to come with them, I think it's all right. The kids we see them every day, and we kind of get to know them, and it's always nice as teachers to get to know the parents a little better, and if we bring them both together sometimes we can work out some problems.
Students believe by attending parent-teacher conferences they are able to benefit themselves.
Some students don't really tell their parents what's going on in school, and so I think it's a great way for the parents to actually figure out what's going on.
I think it's important to come to parent-teacher conferences because you get to hear what the teachers think about you in class, and you get to hear, like what they tell your parents and your grades and everything, and the principal's pass.
By attending conferences, students are eligible for a principal's pass that allows them to have a free lunch break.
I think it's a great way to establish communication between the parents and teachers, so if there's any issues, we can resolve them and get ahead of them before they become a big problem.
This is my first ever FaceTime parent-teacher conference.
Some parents took advantage of technology due to them not being able to attend conferences. For PTV, this is Riley Breton.
Last but not least, we'll make my witch hat. First you need fudge stripe cookies, Next, we'll apply the orange frosting to the back of the cookie. Finally, we'll put on the Hershey's Kiss. Thanks for watching me make my favorite Halloween treats. See ya!
That looks good, but here's a real treat for you.
Trey and John with our sports report.
Hey Panther fans.
Welcome back to PTV Sports. I'm Trey Sides.
And I'm John Honeycutt. It's hard to believe it, but a couple of our fall sports have already come to an end.
Our tennis team wrapped up their season in Prairie Village at the state tournament.
Congratulations to Logan Soliday and Angel Faunensteel for placing 8th. Sam Pruitt also competed at state and played well, but did not place.
The cross-country season is now over too. Abby Hoover was our only Panther who qualified for state, and she ended up placing 22nd out of 103 runners, and missed medaling by only 2 places.
Good job, Abby. Our volleyball season wrapped up at Sub-State when the Panthers faced Colby in the first round. Phillipsburg had previously beaten Colby earlier in the season, but Colby proved to be too tough for the Panthers this time. Team P then beat Colby to win the Sub-State championship, and last Saturday, Team P won the 3A state championship.
Didn't our team almost upset TMP in the league tournament?
Yes, the Panthers did win a set against TMP. That proves how good the competition is in this area. Although our girls' record ended 18-18, we could still hang with some very tough teams.
You know what, fall sports season's not over yet.
Yep, football. On Thursday, our football team ended district play by defeating Russell in the windiest game ever.
You still managed to get the ball through their uprights though. Heading into Russell game, Phillipsburg had already clinched the district championship, which was decided when we faced off against Norton. Danica Hanchett recaps that game.
Coming face to face with their longtime rival, the Panthers took to the field to take on the Norton Blue Jays. The Panthers get on the scoreboard first as quarterback Trey Sides makes his handoff to Kirk Coombs for a touchdown. Norton quarterback Jace Reeder tries to scramble to get something going for the Blue Jays, but the Panther defense shuts him down. In the second quarter, the Panther defense stops the Blue Jays again with this interception and the long return by Trey Thompson. That interception set up this play where quarterback Trey Sides finds Braden Ginman with the pass and run to the end zone for another Panther touchdown. Although Norton came to town with a 6-1 record, they often struggled and Norton failed to get any points on the scoreboard.
I like that we didn't allow them to score. That's kind of a really big thing, again, especially against like power teams like Norton and Smith Center. It's really big if you can keep them off the scoreboard.
There was nothing wrong with the Panther offense, though, as PHS scored 8 touchdowns throughout the game. The final touchdown came from the push up front as Traylon Gross crosses the goal line. Panthers win 56-0.
I liked how we all came together as a team. There were some times that we might have had some penalties here and there that could have broken us, but then we ended up putting together a good drive or coming off and getting the ball back for our offense.
My teammates performed excellent. If it wasn't for the linemen up front, if they weren't getting that pressure up front and stopping the run, then it wouldn't allow me to do anything back in the defensive back sections.
We played really well as a team. Our linemen were blocking great tonight. They were opening up holes for us all night, and our defense played exceptionally well, getting a shutout on Norton.
Go Panthers!
For PTV, this is Danica Hanchett.
Tonight we host Riley County at 6 o'clock at the Panther Stadium.
Parents, you can bring your little goblins on down to the field starting at 5. That's when PHS student council members will be lined up ready to give out treats. So wear your costumes and bring your candy sacks.
PTV will also stream tonight's game if you can't make it out to the field.
Time's up for today's sports report. I'm Trey Sides.
And I'm John Honeycutt. Go Panthers.
You know what song I keep hearing over and over again?
I know. It's Havana Unana.
Oh, no, that's not the song I was referring to. I've been hearing our school song a lot lately.
That's good news though, right? Don't we sing that when we score touchdowns and win games and such?
Yes, but what do our students really know about our fight song?
I bet we're going to find out.
Students tend to sing the school song during pep rallies and games, but do they really know the history behind it? Do you know the school song?
Yeah.
Do you know the school song?
Yes.
Do you know the school song?
Kinda.
You know it?
No.
Do you know the school song?
No.
The school song was written in 1931 by two students, Cleith Fringer and Dale Hobbs. The band arrangements were composed by George Atterbury in 1932. Do you know who made the song?
Francis Scott Key.
John Philip Sousa.
Probably like the principal.
You want to take a guess of when it was made?
I'll say 1945.
1969.
1950.
Can you sing it for me?
Yes. Phillipsburg High, Phillipsburg High, you are the pride of Kansas schools. Phillipsburg High, and we know that you will always rule.
Phillipsburg High, we hear your good times gently call. Greatest loyalty to you, and our hearts are ever true to our own Phillipsburg High.
For PTV, this is John Honeycutt.
Remember, students, no using the restrooms. The water has been turned off again.
Yes?
Can I go to the bathroom, please?
You just said the water's turned off. Yes?
Can I go to my locker?
Okay.
No, Kylie, the water shut off. No, Kylie, the water shut off. Kylie, the water shut off.
Enjoy your tricks and treats tonight, but have a safe Halloween.
That wraps up this episode of PTV. I'm Samantha Pruitt.
And I'm Nyla Salinas.
Stay classy, Phillipsburg High.
What are you doing?